We all know what a burnout is, but have you heard of the term Boreout? It's a disorder caused by chronic mental underload that leads to a persistent lack of motivation and interest, to frustration, lethargy, and in some cases even depression. Now, I've researched Boreout, and most of the literature that I found is related to Boreout in the workplace. But in fact, it can affect many different people and in different areas of their lives. I see the syndrome in some of my clients who, in their majority, are expat wives, women who follow their husband's career abroad, but may find themselves lost and insufficiently challenged in their new country. If this rings a bell for you, or you know someone who fits the description, stay tuned because I'm going to take all this scientific research and make it relevant to you. Hello and welcome back. My name is Camila Quintana and I'm a certified life and relationship coach specializing on women who live and love abroad. And today I want to talk about a fascinating and so important topic that just hasn't been covered enough, and it's Boreout. So I think the reason that this widespread phenomenon isn't talked about as much as it should be is because the Boreout symptoms can easily be viewed as desirable first world problems. Not having lots of stress, which we know is bad for our health, having enough spare time to Google every and anything, being able to watch our favorite TV shows, and maybe taking a nap in the middle of the day. Who would say no to that, right? Who would pity you for that? Well, as I'm about to show you, when this becomes a rule and you feel under-challenged on a daily basis, it's so deeply unsatisfying, it can literally eat you up from the inside. And as a matter of fact, in some literature, the syndrome is described as the soul infarct, because that's what it can feel like to those affected. So what is the problem with Boreout? Well, I think it has to do with our self-worth. The self-worth theory in psychology suggests that it's an innate human need to be seen as capable, competent, and able, both by ourselves and by others. So our own sense of worth is therefore a direct result of our perceived ability to achieve a certain thing and to our performance. But when there's nothing for us to achieve, nothing that challenges us and that makes us feel proud of what we've done or gets us praise from others for that thing, our sense of worth can begin to crumble. And this is something that will also affect other areas of your life as well. So how can we spot Boreout? Boreout is most commonly found in the workplace, in office jobs. Oftentimes, an employee enters the workplace with high motivation, but then finds that either their tasks don't really fulfill their expectations, or they may be stuck in an environment where their superiors don't delegate, for instance. They may be controlling and only pass on the boring tasks to them. So soon they'll find that their motivation decreases, but at the same time, they'll feel so badly about not having enough work and not being important, which is also difficult to communicate to your superiors because A, it could make your position seem redundant, and B, you may be given even more of those boring tasks that you loathe so much. So Boreout affected employees typically develop a series of strategies to pretend to be busy, always having, work-related tab open when they're actually Googling their next vacation, eating lunch at the desk, taking files home with them in the evening, or making a personal call sound like it could be work-related. And in the case of the woman who's given up her life as she knew it, her job, her social circle, etc., to move abroad for her significant other, she can easily and commonly find herself in a situation where either she's unable to work because of visa restrictions, a language barrier, and the likes, or she may have to take a job that doesn't actually suit her qualifications and interests out of a sheer lack of options, basically. She might also not work at all, but at the same time find it difficult to fill her days with meaningful pastimes and activities, as well as, lacking social connections in her new place. Or she may stay home and take care of the family, which is such a beautiful and important thing to do. However, There are some people that just naturally enjoy things like cooking and building Boreout trains and playing hide and seek, and others who actually don't. And that doesn't make them a bad mother. It just means that they will have to fill up their need for mental stimulation in a different way. So no matter what your particular situation is, it's normal and okay to feel bored and under-challenged from time to time. We've all been there, right? But if you feel a deep lack of satisfaction in the activities that you do all day, and you find it increasingly hard to motivate yourself, to get yourself to do anything, you may be suffering from Boreout. And I want to give you the name of what it is that you're experiencing, because when you suffer from Boreout, you feel terrible about yourself. You're losing faith in your own abilities. You're losing hope to find something meaningful out there for you. You may come to think of yourself as lazy and feel ashamed about that. And then your frustration won't stop there. It will kind of bleed into your relationships and can create some really unhealthy patterns there too. So now I wanted to have a look at what favors Boreout. So for one, there's digitalization. It has brought us so many pleasurable distractions for sure. Social media, YouTube, Google, Netflix, there's always something to do on the internet. And it's really easy to convince ourselves that what we're doing is very, very important and enjoyable. However, it is actually making you waste valuable time that could be spent doing something much more fulfilling and productive. Then there's outside pressure that also contributes to Boreout. If you're an expat wife, for instance, you may enjoy certain privileges: a beautiful home, enough help, nanny, enough money not to worry about money. So you might feel that you should be grateful about this, and others would certainly not understand if you told them that it wasn't enough, that it wasn't filling you up, and even, that there wasn't anything to challenge you around there. So you stay quiet, you feel ashamed about the feelings that you're having, and as a result, get even more stuck in this vicious cycle of not feeling fulfilled, but at the same time wanting to pretend that it's all okay. And then thirdly, there's lack of integrity. So studies suggest that at the workplace, a lack of integrity and identification with the company puts employees at a greater risk to suffer from Boreout. And when you live in a different country, and especially if you're there on a temporary assignment, so only for a few years, you may experience the same type of disidentification with that country. And that can make you think, why bother looking for friends or a job or a class? I'll be gone in a few years anyway. And besides, I don't think I'd find anything exciting to do around here anyway. So now that we've analyzed the Boreout syndrome from different angles, the question remains, what can we do about it? So the first step, as always, is self-awareness. You need to become aware of the fact that the symptoms you're experiencing are indeed a condition. Admit it to yourself. And being able to give it a name, Boreout, can just grant you tremendous relief. Then number 2 is taking responsibility. While you may not be able to change the main circumstances that contributed to your Boreout, be it the fact that your boss doesn't like to delegate, or the fact that your spouse got relocated to a different country, or maybe you had to move to his home country in order to be with him. Either way, what you can focus on is what is in your circle of influence. And then just take full responsibility for that. And that will require you to parent yourself, which is something completely underestimated and yet so important. So you need to rethink what your personal goals are in life, and then think about what will it take for you to get there, to embody the kind of person you want to be. What would she do? What wouldn't she do? Also rethink and reinstate your boundaries for yourself and for others, and take care of yourself. Find a good balance between doing what you have to do and doing what you like to do. Schedule your time carefully. Evaluate all the things that you do in a day as if you were like your own teenage daughter that needed help with this. Also, try and put a system into place that will make it easier for you to stop being unproductive and bored. And if this still sounds a little abstract to you, I can only recommend you to get a good coach whose specialty it is to help you with these kind of things exactly. Coaching is so powerful because it brings actual tangible results, and quite quickly, as a matter of fact. I see that with my own clients, but also thanks to working with a couple of brilliant coaches that help me tap into my full potential and show up as the best version of myself. And number 3 is look for meaning and purpose in your life. Meaning and purpose, as you know, are the fourth of my 4 pillars of a fulfilled life abroad framework. So they aren't something that you need to look for on the outside. You can actually create them from within by, first of all, getting clear on what truly brings you joy in life, what your unique skills and your values are, what impact do you want to make in the world. And a well-known coaching question that you can apply here is, if time and money weren't an issue, what would I be doing with my time? And even if you determine that your current circumstances make it really hard to carry out that new goal and new activity that you found, what meaning-providing elements of it could you do? And if you think about it hard enough, you'll come up with various options, I'm sure. Also, make sure to actively look for additional activities that you can do that will stimulate your intellect, because that's exactly what's needed to overcome Boreout. So if you think that you might be suffering from Boreout, and if you'd like to chat about that, reach out to me. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and as always, remember, wherever you are, I'm here to support you.